Hi friends, today I want to share with you my latest photo walk which happened in downtown Salt Lake City. Other than my most recent video, which was me capturing protests in downtown Salt Lake City, I haven't been down there a whole lot recently. I've been exploring other areas, so it was nice to be back on the streets to have a proper, just mundane everyday photo walk. I took out my long lens and went for a stroll, and here that is. So this time around, I wanted to talk about these photos a bit as I go through them. I enjoy this shot because I think the light is very intriguing, and one interesting variable about this particular photo walk is I had my long lens. It was getting dark, increasingly dark, or I guess decreasingly dark would. So this lens is a slower lens. It's an older lens. It's a slower lens. So I cranked the ISO more than I may do with my 50mm 1.8. Which I don't mind at all. I think she has an interesting look. I like how focused she is in this shot. I like the strong shadows, and I like the geometric quality of the window as a frame for her. One thing I love about shooting with a long lens is it provides a sort of cinematic quality to the photos. With this one, if you know anything about me, I'm sure you probably know that I enjoy the expression of the skater that I was able to capture here. I used this very fantastical building as a backdrop for him and let him ride into the frame. He stopped at the perfect moment to put him dead center. The 111 on the building above him is very aesthetically pleasing, and I would love to put that in my apartment. Once again, there's a geometric quality to things here that I find interesting, and I like the balance of color tones with the warmer tones taking over most of the image, and then on the bottom you have some cooler tones with the street and what have you. It would have been sick to have a beautiful beam of light on him, but this is okay. As it was getting darker, I was looking for aesthetically pleasing sources of night light. I found the entrance to this parking garage to be very interesting. I think I sat there for a moment waiting for somebody to walk by, and then I saw these street cleaners coming out of the parking garage. I snapped a few photos, and this was my favorite one of the bunch. I love the collection of lights in the background as well as the headlights, and once again everything has a very geometric quality to it here. I think the positioning of the street cleaner Zamboni thing here was really important for this photo. I also appreciate the white hat and face mask here. Without that, his face would have been a shadow. I like what that adds to the photo. This is an example to me of how dynamic light and how it plays on things is a crucial character in a photo. This is one I captured just a moment later. I really love this guy's expression and his stride here and how he is silhouetted against the light of the background. I actually find the soft light on the sidewalk very pleasing as well. Once again, you have these very pleasing circular lights, and with both of these photos, the way that the elements sort of fell together in the shot and also the way that I cropped the photos was very important to my end goal. So with this one, I think the long lens really shined. You see the guy on the phone, and then all around him you see this interesting play of light and geometry. You have very warm tones coming from the lights inside the building, and then you have very cool tones coming off the sides of the building, as well as the shadowy places within. Some people would get rid of the trees here. I actually really like the way they fall in the image. I enjoy playing with foreground elements to create an interesting framing for things. One thing I'm actually noticing as I look at this photo now is on the right hand side you have this almost perfect, near perfect cloning of two floors on top of each other. That's neat. Now with this one, I initially just found the stack of buildings going into the distance. intriguing. And I noticed that there was a single source of light coming from the train stop station. So I decided to wait for a moment for someone to walk into that light. One of the reasons being that the thread that runs through basically all of my photography is people. Another reason being that it creates a sense of scale. I love how dark and shadowy and intense this photo is. It has lots of cool tones contrasted against splashes of warm tones. What I really like about this photo is I found that I don't often get really beautiful, expansive city shots. A lot of them are tighter in on subjects. So for that reason, this shot makes me happy. One other point of interest for me is how the building closest to us on the right actually shoots out the top of the frame, which makes it feel enormous. I'm a huge fan of making enormous things in person feel enormous in photos, which is sometimes hard to do, and it takes technique and style. The narrative of this photo is really interesting to me. This is a guy who is working late at night. I don't know if he has a family or if he's just working for himself, but hard work is a character trait, an important character trait, and I love that I'm able to tell that story here. I love how these windows serve as a framing for him. I love how everything around him is fairly dark and shadowy with a single intense point of light behind him. And I captured a few shots here, and this was the one where his expression was what I wanted it to be. I love this light. It reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Die Hard. This has such a cinematic and dramatic and immersive tone to it. And once again, you see a narrative similar to the last one where this guy's just doing his job, cleaning. I think this is an interesting dance of the beauty and the mundaneness of life. I enjoy that everything feels very symmetrical here. You have these four pylons in the foreground. I think they're sort of security gates that are balanced well. And also you have the guy with his mop bucket, and then on the opposite end of the frame, in a sort of balancing way, you have his big cart. And of course you have these very stark black lines going up the lit up wall in the background, both vertically and horizontally. Here's another one I captured of a guy entering the elevator, and this was taken in the hallway directly to the right of the last one. Same idea as the last one, but a different interesting expression from the subject. Fun story, I was very excited about the previous photo I just shared with you, and I shared it with my wife. I texted her a picture of the back of my camera, and I said, boom, like, I'm amazing, look at me, aren't you glad you married me? And she was like, it's 5 out of 10, she's hard to please. And then I sent her this one and she said, okay, ... that's a good photo. I was taking a stroll through the mall, which is actually a very extravagant mall that's placed right in the center of downtown Salt Lake City. I saw this guy with his baby through the window and I stopped to take a picture. I love the foreground elements as framing, I love the light, I like his hat, I like the sunflower at the bottom. You gotta do the little baby feet, look at the baby feet. I love this photo and I was in the right place at the right time. Okay, that is it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Please feel free to engage below. I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye.